Welcome to another Daily Dose of Greatness Quest. Today's topic is about living life to the fullest. I've got a little 3-step formula here. I think you're going to love it. Can't wait to see you on today's show.
Cowboy.
Welcome to a Daily Dose of Greatness Quest with your host, Trevor Crane, my daddy. He is going to help you take your life and business to the next level.
Here I come to save the day.
Trevor Crane here, 11-time #1 best-selling author and the founder of Epic Author Publishing, coming to you live every day so you can plug in every day to build your ideal business so you can live your ideal life.
If my daddy can do it, then anybody can do it because he's a weirdo.
You're supposed to make me sound cool. All right. Welcome back. How can you live life to the fullest? Lately, I have talked about the power of the dark side, the power of the light, and that we need to use both of these to our benefit. We talked a little bit about, I shared some love guru insights. I've talked to my 11-year-old daughter a couple times on this show. What I want to share with you now is a strategy that you can use. It's a little 3-step process, and we're asking and answering these 3 questions all the time anyway. I'm going to give them to you without any hyperbole or without any real fanfare. I'm going to tell you where I came up with these and how you can use them right now so you can just jump right into it and keep today's show really tight so you can get something valuable. So basically, these 3 questions are, what are you going to focus on? What does this mean? And what am I going to do? So write those down real quick. What are you going to focus on? What does this mean? And what am I going to do? Now, you're constantly always asking these questions anyway. But when you're conscious of them, instead of unconscious, you now get to go ahead and choose. See, where your focus goes, energy flows. When you focus on the positive of things, when you see the glass as half full as opposed to half empty, you're typically in a better state. Now, you and I might have hardship that's going to come up, the dark side, right? We're going to have some shit come up we're not going to like. Now, we can focus on how this sucks. But see, successful people who are living life to the fullest will find a way to focus on the positive. Now, sometimes there is not a positive. Sometimes something happens and somebody dies and something happens and it just fucking sucks. And that's okay. Like, I think that it is silly to go ahead and pretend like things aren't what they really are. And if you're gonna focus on something, man, and give it your attention, focus on it. But now what you're immediately now trying to figure out is, what does this mean? And oftentimes we think it means that it's something really bad, or we think that what we're doing is getting us some kind of incredible result. You know, my question for you today would be to ask yourself if what you are doing today is getting you closer to where you want to be tomorrow. And if what you're doing today is not getting you closer to where you want to be tomorrow, then you need to shift things. You need to shift your focus to something else that you should be focused on. And then you should make sure you take some action. Well, how are you going to take some action? And what does this mean? What are you going to focus on? So when you focus on something, you know, you have to now create a meaning for it. Now, we do this naturally. And we think that these meanings are set in stone. But one of the things that has been one of the most powerful gifts I've received in my life is the ability to reprogram the meaning that I have for things. So when I filed my bankruptcy at one stage, I thought that meant I was a loser. I thought that meant it was the end. But then I thought that meant a whole bunch of things, and it made me cry. It made me get upset. It made me want to slit my wrist. It was sucked. I was never really suicidal, but I was really fucking pissed. And I felt really bad about myself. And then I had to transform. I got the gift to transform that meaning. I thought, what else could this mean? And maybe it meant that this was a time to start over. See, now I look at that bankruptcy. I was just telling this to a story to my buddy. He and I were talking. It had been a while. And I was sharing with him that on the day I filed my bankruptcy was the day I made $2.2 million. Like, what a powerful meaning transformation. See, I had a lot of debt, and I was pretty upset about it. And then I learned about debt and what it meant, and I thought I would go to jail. I thought when you didn't pay your bills, you went to jail. I thought that was stealing. I thought that I was a liar, and a lot of things that were not necessarily positive. I was just confused and scared. And so I found out that I didn't have to pay my bills. I mean, they'll try to take your house, and they'll try to take your car, and they did. And they did take that stuff. But I didn't go to jail. I mean, I did get some very very consistent phone calls from people who wanted me to pay them back. The credit card companies, and they came and got my Hummer. Actually, I dropped that off at the airport and called them to come pick it up. And they were pissed. But who cares? I learned that there was a different meaning in it. And the day I walked into that judge in a small little room and he wrote off my $2.2 million in probably 5 minutes, I realized was the day that I made $2.2 million. It was a very rich day. Because think, I would have had to pay all that back. I'd had to go out and make my next $2 million would go to everybody else. And so how you focus on what you focus on and what the meaning of those things are could be anything. I broke up with a gal and I was in love with her and we had a daughter together. Like this was the worst. This was the worst. And I was losing all my money at the same time. And I'm like, man, life sucks. This is the worst. But actually it was a good thing. It was one of the best things that happened to me. She left me. She said, Trevor, you suck. I'm going to leave you. Now, I had been struggling with a relationship for a while. There were times I wanted to break up, but I didn't want to break up because I was in love with her and we had a baby together and blah, blah, blah. Finally, she left me and I was all upset. Oh, no. I cried. Oh, this is so sad. She's leaving me. But then I realized, hold on, there's a gift behind this. Like maybe we weren't meant to be together. We were struggling. Like finally, she had the damn ass courage instead of maybe this was meant to be. I'm like, but we have our daughter together, and what if there's another man in my daughter's life, and she's gonna go, and then this woman was gonna, my daughter's mother was gonna date another man, and there's another man that's gonna be raising my daughter. And I remember I was talking to Tony Robbins one day, and when I say that, I mean I was watching one of his DVDs, and he was talking to me, and I was talking back to him, and someone else made up a similar fear. And they said that going through the divorce or getting or breaking up with I think it was his wife, that he was scared that someone else, another man, would probably raise his kids. And Tone said, "You're right. They will. Like that's gonna happen. If you leave them, then you can then that's one of the things that's gonna happen." Like, and it had seemed like it was the end of the world for him when he was thinking of it, and it certainly felt like that for me. But then I realized that maybe I could create a powerful meaning around it instead. Now I'm married to the right woman for me. And we just had our new baby boy. And my daughter's now 11, not 2. I met her right at the end of this madness. See, what are you going to focus on and what does this mean? So you can wait for it to be all happy-pappy in the end, or you can create a positive, empowering meaning in what you have right now. And what the things are that you're going to focus on. This happens with my daughter. My daughter will get all upset. Oh, she'll get upset. Something will happen, and this means whatever it means. And she'll typically get upset when she gets really tired. And then she just needs to go to sleep, but then she gets upset, and she gets depressed, and she goes down this thing. And I shared with you recently this fun little thing with drama. If you didn't listen to the Love Guru episode, you should totally check that one out. It's kind of funny because my daughter was talking in the background. But we distract her from something and get her to focus on something else. See, focus is important. I said, what are you going to focus on? What does this mean? And then what are you going to go do? Yesterday I talked to you about the power of shifting and overcoming overwhelm or obliterate overwhelm and how to deal with confusion. And I said that you should find a mentor. And I said that you should just take fast action. Today I'm talking to you about now that you're going to focus on something, and now what does it mean? Is it the end or is it the beginning? See, you get to choose, and then you get to choose what you're now going to go do. And I suggest that you take fast action. I suggest that you get some frickin' help. I suggest that you live life to the fullest and focus on the positive. Because you can do the opposite. Whatever the fucking hell the opposite of that is, something that sucks. Don't live life to the fullest and focus on the shitty shit. Like, why would you want to do that? Live life to the fullest and focus on the positive, man. And then now figure out what you're gonna do. Now don't sit there kumbaya, happy, pappy, bullshit. Do something. Get your ass up and go do something. Hire somebody. Get some help. Read the book. Take the program. Follow their instructions. Don't just start it, finish it. Lately, I've had some calls with some people who are getting one of my books called How to Write the Right Book Fast, and they show up on their first coaching call session with me, and they're freaking halfway done with their damn book. Like, they followed the freaking instructions. They're done with their title, their table of contents. They started their book launch team. They just followed the freaking instructions. It is so amazing. And then I get to help them at the next level. And holy crap, we create fast results when that happens. So successful people maintain a positive focus in life no matter what is going on around them. So I would challenge you today to try to focus on the positive, or focus on the freaking shit that just happened and find a meaning behind it, the yucky stuff. Find a meaning behind it that's more empowering and can move you forward. That's my challenge for you today. And then write that down in your freaking journal. Write down like what this new powering alternative, this new positive empowering meaning is, and then you got to put your 2 feet in motion. You got to walk about. You got to take some action. You got to do something. I shared this also recently, and I love this quote by Tony Robbins where he says, don't ever leave the sight of a goal without doing something towards its attainment. So take some action, do something. Don't wait, do something now. Do something tomorrow. Show up on tomorrow's another daily dose of greatness quest. Take some action. Live your life to the fullest. Become your best. See, when my grandfather passed away when he was 92 years old, he died in that bed that he never got out of with some regrets. And he died with some magic memories, some moments. And I know that what he could remember that made him happy, he was focused on those 2 things. His magic moments, the things that were the greatest things he did in his life, and those things that were his biggest regrets. One of his regrets was not publishing a book. He had a story that he wrote called The Painted Pony. You know what? Damn it. I'm going to have to now publish that book. He never published it. I should publish it for him. It needs some major editing because it was not ready to publish. But that was his regret. And that's one of the reasons why I now started a publishing company that helps people tell their story and helps people tell their story in a context that goes ahead and helps build their business, their brand, and makes a difference and helps people. I have kids' books. I have a program for kids' books. I have a program for greatness books, which I think are those of us that have books that can make a difference in the world, and entrepreneurs, business owners, lawyers, doctors, financial advisors, coaches, consultants. I help you with a greatness book to get your greatness out and share it with the world so people can start to experience more of their own greatness through your help and your stories. And then I help people with legacy books. I'm working with 2 people right now. One is on the cusp. He hasn't started yet, but he was roommates with Dr. Martin Luther King growing up in college. I hope we get to work on that book. I'm really excited to tell that story. And then another young woman who's 90 years young who wants to tell her legacy story about how she grew up in the 20s with ADHD and a combination of challenges as a colored woman dealing with a lot of the mental challenges that she had at the time for being, what's she calling her book? It's called The Habit, and we're working on that book. So here's my challenge for you today. Fuck it, I'm not going to repeat myself. You already know what the challenge is. Go kick some ass today. And then I can't wait to see you tomorrow on another daily dose of greatness quest. You make today magnificent. To get even more awesomeness, which means all my best stuff, download my app by texting Trevor to 36260. It will show up right on your cell phone. Just text message the word Trevor to 36260. Talk to you soon.